Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I am test playing the new Anub'arak today. I'm going to show you the new changes in the PTR. Again, this is for like May 14th, so they are not going to be out for another week, but I'm going to go ahead and show you them anyway. So let's reset this here. He did get significant changes and they wanted him to be more of a solo tank. So they kind of tweaked a little bit of his talents here to have more sustainability, to have more damage. They changed the Scarab build ever so slightly, as well as making him an anti-mage warrior. So if you're going to be fighting against a bunch of mages or a couple of them, Anub'arak is now a perfect pickup to help, you know, in that area. Now, let's take a look. Again, I'm just going to actually go to his we're going to go all the way up to level 20. All right, so he has the same abilities as he always did. Impale, cooldown of 12 seconds, dealing 219, stuns for 1. Hardened Carapace now shields for, I think, it a little bit more. I think they buffed it, but it's every 7 seconds. You can absorb 658 at level 20, by the way, over 3 seconds. And Burrow Charge, which is one of his most famous abilities, allowing you to escape or initiate with a 16-second cooldown, dealing damage and stun briefly. And you can reactivate it, of course, to come out early. His trait hasn't been changed at all. It's still going to spawn a beetle every time you use an ability. So whether it's the Impale or your shield, there will be a beetle spawned. I'm going to actually take off the cooldown so I can show you a bunch. So at level 1, he now has extended spike still, so his range on it is going to be increased by 25%. Dampen Magic is new. Upon taking ability damage, it reduces that damage and further damage by 50% for 1.5 seconds, and it can only trigger every 8 seconds. So it's like block, except for magic, and it's once every 8 seconds. So it's still huge, huge, huge damage reduction, especially if you time it well with alts or any other mage abilities, or just anybody's abilities, really. Assault Scarab, still really good for the beetle build, increases the attack damage of the beetles. I don't remember how much damage they do. Let's see, at level 20, they probably do like 100 damage or less. Let's get a couple beetles here. All right, so they're only doing 44 damage, it looks like, and this will increase it by a little bit more. So I usually don't take Assault Scarab even if I go beetle build because there's quite a bit better now, especially with the new PTR changes. Um, and then Regen Master is now a quest talent. So when you gather up 30 of them, it'll give you 500 to your max health. So it's quite easy to get 30. You can probably get that about the 15-minute mark or so if you're lucky, maybe even 20 minutes. Or if it's a map with a lot of regen, then you can get the 500 bonus. So usually I go Dampen Magic if you got pesky mages on the opposite team, or you can go Regen Master if you're going to be solo tanking, which is kind of what he was designed around for, or the Extended Spikes if you're going to need the CC for your team, or if he's like a secondary tank, or you just want to add to your poke damage. All are very good again. So let's just go ahead and take I don't know, extended spikes. So his level 4 talents, he's got Underking. So the range on your burrow is going to be increased by 20, and the damage is now going to double. So instead of doing 235, you're looking at around 500 now. Pretty significant. Locust needles are pretty much the same. It's whenever you attack, it'll deal basic attack damage to around that target as well. Now, the one thing I noticed is, especially on merc camps, this doesn't really proc that often, just because of the way they're either positioned, especially on the siege giants here. But again, it's good for laning, but um, because you can take Burning Rage at 13, it kind of makes up for your wave clearing in that regard. So if you're going to take Burning Rage ahead of time, I would say avoid Locust Needles because they don't proc as often and his auto attack damage is pretty pathetic. So And then Legion Beetles, of course, has remained the same and it spawns a beetle every 8 seconds. Now, this is again really great for beetle builds, as well as if you're fighting like Li Ming or anybody who you need to block with minions of your own, kind of like Zagara does. So, just by spawning beetles, it'll help you avoid skill shots and hooks and all sorts of fun stuff. So, usually I take Legion of Beetles or even Under King, so you can either escape or initiate from a lot farther away. But Locust Needles is okay. If you're not going to take this, then I would say sure, go ahead, think about it. But I like Burning Rage a lot better, and it procs all the time, and it has about the same range because it's based on your auto attacks anyway. So, but again, I'll kind of show you that if you want. Um, I just don't think it's particularly good, even for wave clearing. Um, but I guess if you're really lacking in wave clear, sure, you know. So if you're hitting like a minion, it's going to proc a couple of the other ones for a little bit extra damage. I mean, it does its job, but in a team fight, it's not going to be anything to write home about. And if we look at the bruisers here, if we try it on the bruisers, look, it's not even procking with the bruisers, unless, not even like if I'm right in the middle. So I don't know why, but you know, it's not going to help you there. Um, well, see, it's procking off of these, so I don't know what's going on. Let's go heal up real quick here. So level 7, we got Shed Exoskeleton. So when you use your Carapace, it'll increase your movement speed by 30 seconds. So this is really great if you need to, um, get ahead of your team to help body block or to help escape. Again, it's got a really short cooldown, so it's not too bad. Chitnis Plating. While your shield is active, you take less damage from abilities. Um, and it reduces the cooldown. Well, no. It just reduces the cooldown every time you're hit by abilities. So if you're going to be in the fight for a longer period, it's going to proc a lot more often, and the cooldown is going to go a lot faster. So, and then obviously Leech and Scarabs is pretty much the same. You heal whenever your beetles take attack stuff. So Chitness Plating, and if your plating is up and you take like ability damage, I wish he would use his ice, but he doesn't really want to. Um, Come on. Oh, well, maybe I'll just take damn. Maybe I don't think the towers will actually work on it, but I mean, you're getting 0.75 every time you get hit by an ability, and it lasts for 3 seconds. But this Arthas does not want to use his AOE slow. Um, it's okay. I mean, if you're going to be in a team fight and there's again lots of fast abilities, or you're the solo tank, you may think about it. Leeching Scarabs, of course, is remaining the same. So level 10, we got Locust Swarm. It's basically the same as it's always been. And Cocoon, which has a little bit of a change. So now there's no longer a channel period on it. And um, I think that's pretty much it. They just got rid of the channel. So it's 8 seconds, 60 second cooldown. They may have tweaked those numbers a little bit, but now you no longer have that channel period, and it'll immediately wrap on the target that you want them to. So, not much has really changed. I wish he would use that AoE ability. Um, Level 13, Burning Rage is the same. Uh, Urticating Spines. Casting your Hardened Carapace will now deal 175 to nearby and double the damage versus heroes. So now if you're, sticking to targets like you normally would, every time you use your Carapace, it's going to deal extra damage around them. And it also works for minions, and I'll show you that in a second. And then Bed of Barbs, which creates a spike path just like it always did. I think that's pretty much the same. It might have gotten tweaked a little bit, but usually you're going to take Burning Rage or Bed of Barbs, but the Urticating Spines is actually pretty good for wave clears too. And if you went ahead and got Chitness Plating, which you can activate your Carapace a lot more often, it'll hopefully proc a lot more as you're spamming it and spamming beetles too. So it's pretty good. Um, um, Now, if you're saying, well, I could just take Burning Rage, which will tick nearby all the time, whereas the urticating spines only tick every time your carapace goes off, that is true. And I would still recommend Burning Rage unless you went for this chitnis plating, because that'll get you a lower cooldown anyway, and hopefully you can proc it more often. Otherwise, just take Burning Rage. And then Bed of Barbs is, of course, the same. You cast it, and it leaves a slowing spines behind. Level 16, you got Epicenter. So the impact area of the burrow is increased, and it lowers the cooldown for each hero hit. So you are looking at 16 seconds right now, and when you hit it, it'll lower by 4 seconds for each hero. So it's pretty good for initiating, terrible if you're running away. Um, the impact area is really nice if you went for, where is it? Under King, because it's going to increase your damage as well as the range. So that's really good if you're going for like more of a burrow build. Um, Otherwise, I'd kind of avoid it. It's all right, but it's very it's just hard to proc, kind of. Beetlejuiced is the exact same, I believe. Every third attack against the heroes will spawn a beetle. Actually, that got buffed. It's my bad. Um, it used to be where the beetles evolved, I believe. Now it's anytime you do a third attack, it'll spawn a beetle. And then Blood for Blood, I believe, is the exact same. But for Beetlejuice, I think it'll even proc off of like regular minions. Uh, Okay, so yeah, it does have to be heroes, which are going to be attacking them anyway, and it doesn't matter um, if it's consecutive or not. If it's against a hero, you're going to be spawning a beetle. So pretty nice. So there's my beetle. Pretty good. Then at level 20, we've got Hive Master. I believe that's the exact same as it was. Crypt Weave, which is now changed, and when you stay near the cocoon, it'll allow Anub'arak to extend the duration by 4 seconds per cocoon. Hardened Shield is the exact same, and a Rewind, which is amazing for a CC build. But for Crypt Weave, in this case, now as long as you're near it, within this radius that you see here, it's going to extend the timer by 4 seconds as long as you're near it. So, I mean, you're usually when I'm playing a Anub'arak, you kind of cocoon somebody and then leave and forget as you're dealing with the rest of the team. So it is really good for close quarters, or if you're going to be like in the middle of things, getting swarmed and everything, or if you take the other alt for your locust swarm, it's really good, and then you can stall out. Um, but Cryptweave is now received a buff, so hopefully people will pick it up more. It's perfect against like Moraleses or if there's a solo healer. Um, but yeah, it's pretty good. An extra 4 seconds, and you still don't have that cooldown, the channel time. It's pretty good. So where I see Anub'arak is I think he will become more of a solo tank. He of course still works wonders as like if you got two warriors or any heavy CC build, or you need to target the back line because you're going to take cocoon. I think he's still really good with that. His health and I think health regen also got tweaked a little bit. Again, you can check the numbers, but I'm not sure what they used to be. Um, but Blizzard was trying to get him to be more of a solo tank, trying to increase his talents to make him more modern and comparable to other people, and make him an anti-mage. So if you go ahead and take like Dampened Magic at level 1, you can take like Underking to charge their back line, doing the extra damage. Um, I would probably still go with the movement speed, maybe, if you have like a Leeming or somebody fast or Tracer. Um, Cocoon, perfect. Pick your choice of these. Usually Bed of Barbs is really good for those pesky high mobility heroes. Any of these are pretty good too. Maybe not this if you're, you know, unsure or you're just not good at landing them. And then level 20, take your pick. Usually I go Rewind, or if I'm going to receive heavy AoE or anything, I usually go Hardened Shield and just go nuts. But I like the changes. I think he'll be played a lot more. Hopefully his win rate rises. Um, and yeah, so Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much Anub'arak in a nutshell. He's on the PTR right now for I think at least a couple more days here, and then he'll hopefully be released. But yeah, check him out. These are just my recommended and as well as my builds. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Damn it, Shorty!